cuties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Noemi. I am the creator behind n.r.b crafts. If you are new here, welcome. I create tumbler tutorials here on YouTube along with some other tutorials using resin. So a couple weeks ago, some of you guys saw this cup on my turner in one of my videos. So that is what we are going to make today. So today I am going to bring you two different methods of how to apply that cat scratch sheet to the tumbler. So with the 40 ounce, I created a template to cut out the little notches where the handle goes. And I also recreated the tumbler on a 30 ounce camper mug from Craft Haven. Both of these tumblers are from Craft Haven. So this one, I did not use a template for it. So I am going to be showing you both methods that I use. If you would like to support me and download the template, I am also working on a 20 ounce and a 30 ounce template for you guys, and I will have the link in the description to my Etsy if you guys would like to check out what tumbler templates I have. Also, I will be linking all of the materials that I used along with the spray paint and the color that I used in the description. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so jumping into this, I am starting off with a sanded tumbler. And I am just going to measure my cat scratch sheet, making sure that I have enough to go around. So I just did a little mark with the Sharpie, and I am going to use my paper trimmer to make sure that I am cutting this straight, because I cannot cut a straight line to save my life. um, okay, so now I am going to apply this like I would apply my vinyl. So I'm just going to remove a little bit from the backing and make sure that my cat scratch sheet is aligned to my handle. And once I have made sure that it is going to fit around my mug, I am going to start removing the rest of that backing so that we can expose that sticky side onto the tumbler. So I am just going to work this like I would with my vinyl, using my fingers and also my felt tip squeegee, so that, I have a pretty good bubble free pressed on cat scratch sheets. So once I get to the handle part, I am going to cut it exactly like I would as if I were applying vinyl. If you have not seen me apply vinyl to a mug before, you could check out my full sleeve tattoo tumbler. I wrapped a similar tumbler the in vinyl and then added the tattoo. So I am going to start off by poking a little bit where the handles are and then cutting it out. Since this is a cat scratch sheet, um, that sticky side wanted to stick to my X-Acto knife so many times, so you do want to be careful that your knife doesn't accidentally snag up the cat scratch sheet, and make sure that you are cutting it. And once you have that, you can just press it on firmly and make sure that you have no bubbles. So we are going to do the same thing to the other side and also to the middle, just so that you can get those little notches to be on pretty, close to the size that you need them to be. So after you finish that, we are going to take our X-Acto knife and run it along the sides so that you can just trim off those little notches from the handle and you don't have anything like hanging off when you go to put down your foils. So we are also going to trim off that excess that we have on the sides of the tumbler, and after this I am going to go in with my cup edging tool and remove the bottom excess that I had, because I had a lot of little like wrinkles on the bottom. And after I finish this, I am going to take my foil and measure it out, making sure that I am going to have enough to wrap around the whole tumbler once I go to apply that foil onto the tumbler. So I believe this foil is called Burgundy Rose. I'll have it linked in the description. To be honest, I can't remember the name at the moment. So if you guys saw my tutorial on my first foil tumbler, it is going to be the same technique. You just want to peel back a little bit at a time and work slowly. I am going to speed this video up because it is already a little bit long. So, um, you just want to work really slowly on this. As you see here, I am just kind of removing the backing very, very slowly and applying my foil onto that cat scratch sheet very slowly. So you do want to take your time on it, just to make sure you don't have a lot of creases and bubbles where your foil and your cat scratch sheet meet. And also, if you need help with putting down that foil, you could use the felt edge tip. I got this one from Flint Sisters supply shop, so I'll have that linked in the description as well. And you could also find them on Amazon, so I will also have those linked in my Amazon favorites if you guys would like to purchase some of these. They come in really handy when you are putting in vinyl, or in this case foil, because it doesn't scratch your foil or your vinyl. So after we finish putting down the foil and we meet up with that handle part, I am just going to make sure everything is very well laid down and try to get it down as straight as possible without um, ruining my vinyl. So for the foil parts, you don't necessarily need to cut out a notch. You just need to kind of slice it where the notch is, like kind of in the middle, if that makes sense, of your handle, and then just press it down gently, making sure you don't get any bubbles or any wrinkles. Like I said, you do want to go slow when you are working with your foil, just in case you have a little bit of a hiccup. You don't have that big of a area to cover up if you make a mistake. So after this, I am just going to start removing any of the backing, but first I am just going to kind of run that felt tip squeegee tool all over my tumbler just to make sure that my foil is very well pressed on. So after that, I will start removing the backing. As you can see here, I am trying my best to kind of pull it back slowly as well, just to make sure that any pieces that may lift up when I'm pulling my foil off don't get pulled off too badly. So I did have some spots, but it wasn't too bad. So, like I said, you do just kind of want to go slowly when you are making these tumblers. So, just to make sure that any of the backing is just completely off. And as you can see, most of my backing paper here just comes off pretty smoothly. You do want to keep in mind on what kind of foils you're using. I haven't had any trouble with the foils that I use, but with some of the foils, I have heard other creators have a little bit more of a problem when removing the backing. So now I am going to cut a little slip from that cat scratch sheet and just apply it to my handle. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. It is completely optional. You could also glitter the handle if you would want to. That is also an option, or you can just leave it as is. But I decided to add some foil to my handle. So it is just going to be the same thing. You are going to apply that cat scratch sheet and then apply your foil, making sure that your cat scratch sheet is in place before, adding that foil. So I am also going to trim off any excess right now so that it doesn't damage any of my foil once I go to put it in, and my little handle piece is going to be the exact size. So just as a little warning, this was a little bit difficult because my craft knife was sticking to the cat scratch sheet. So if you do want to try this, just keep that in mind that your craft knife may or may not stick to that cat scratch sheet. So if you guys would like to get the same brand of cat scratch sheets that I have, I will have them linked in my Amazon favorites so that you guys could check them out. Okay, so once I finish this, I am going to just take that leftover foil and add my foil to my handle. So I am just going to apply it the same way that I applied it to the tumbler. So just kind of expose a little bit and then just kind of roll my finger down to remove that backing and remove the rest of this so that my handle is completely covered in this foil. So once I finish this, I also went in and trimmed off the top part of my foil. In hindsight, I should have put the cat scratch sheet a little bit below the the rim of my tumbler just to kind of give it a little bit of a lip. um so just because the first tumbler that I made, the 40-ounce tumbler that I made, I noticed that it kind of just it was hard to sand down. So that is why I chose with this one to trim off the edge. So that is why I did that. You don't have to. You could just kind of sand it down once you finish once you add your layer of epoxy, and do all your sanding and stuff. You could leave it like that, but I decided so that I can have a good seal on my tumbler and not risk, my epoxy not covering my foil, that I was going to um, just trim that off. So I may or may not go back in and just kind of spray paint those areas that I left as a stainless steel, so the bottom and the top, but I'm kind of indecisive. So after this, you can just add your layers of epoxy and your tumbler will be done. So moving on to the next tumbler, the tumbler with the template. So it's pretty much the same thing. The only difference is the template. This has the pre-cut notches for the handle. So I thought it was pretty convenient. You could also do this with foil, not foil, vinyl if you were to do a vinyl wrap. Just making sure that you keep it aligned and you have it um, very straight on your tumbler. Otherwise, those notches will probably not align correctly. So you do want to be careful with that and just kind of, you know, see where you're going with that. So I'm just making sure, double checking that my template is the correct sizing that I need, that those notches are exactly where I need them to be, and they are. So I'm going to move on and then add some masking tape to my tumbler just to kind of anchor that cat scratch sheet down so that I know it is going to be on my tumbler completely straight and I am not going to have any issues once I go to apply my template. So once I made sure that it's on there completely straight, I'm just going to start by first off taking that masking tape off and removing that and making sure that my cat scratch sheet is on my tumbler well. So this was my first foil tumbler, so I did make a little bit of boo-boos on this one. I didn't notice that some of my cat scratch sheet was bubbled, and it was it was kind of a mess. But the second one turned out better, which is the first part of the video. So, um, I just I didn't press my cat scratch sheet completely right on this tumbler, so I was kind of in a hurry too because I had some other stuff to do that day. So that's probably why my tumbler, even though it turned out very nice, it did have some stuff that needed to be fixed. So as in the first part of the video, we are just going to apply this cat scratch sheet with our fingers, with that little squeegee tool if you need to. I was moving a lot slower with this template, with the cat scratch sheet, because it was a template, so I needed it to be exactly where I had placed it so that it would fit where the notches are. I know it's kind of a little bit of a hard thing to do, but in all honesty, it was a lot better than having to go and cut the little notches out and then trying to, see if I didn't mess up. And at least with the template, I made sure that the whole tumbler was covered with that cat scratch sheet. Because when you have it just how it was in the first part of the video, that you just apply it like that, you do run the risk of the cat scratch sheet to, when you cut it where the little notches are of the tumbler, the handle, you do run the risk of that just kind of being cut out wonky. So that is kind of an upside and why I designed this tumbler template. So if you guys would like to purchase it, it is going to be in my Etsy, and I would have that linked in the description for you guys if you guys would like to check that out. So, um, as in the previous, I also went in with that little squeegee and rubbed it, made sure that it was very well placed, specifically on those seams. And even though in the first part of the video, I cut my cat scratch sheet like right up where it met, with this, I did leave a little bit of an overlap, but that doesn't matter because it didn't really end up showing through on the tumbler at the end. So, um, to finish this off, I am just going to apply my foil the same way as I applied it with the first part of the video, just making sure that it is aligned correctly. And once I get to my handle, just kind of snip that little piece of foil, not worrying about the notches, like making notches in the foil. So I completely forgot to film where I added the cat scratch sheet on the handle, but it is the same as the previous. And like I mentioned previously, I did do a time lapse on these. I just really did go slowly on these tumblers just to make sure that my foil was on there correctly and that I was going to be able to lift it up, and the whole shebang. So once I did that, I kind of just went in with that little felt tip side, and this is where I saw kind of the bubbles that were formed when I put down that cat scratch sheet. So, like I said, this was my first tumbler that I made. I wanted to make sure that that template was where the notches needed to be, and I wanted to try out the template. So, it was a perfect thing to do. So, like I said, I just moved the foil slowly and, cleaned up my tumbler. And after this, and I applied the foil onto the handle, I epoxied my tumbler And that is the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like to follow me on social media, my handles will be at the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Bye.